Hey there, what's up? Welcome to the video. In this one we're going to see game of the day, played in Abu Dhabi Masters tournament round 6 between two Indian players. Aditya Mittal as white is playing against Ajay Krishna. The game will be very interesting and exciting, just getting started. e4 c5, knight f3 d6, this is the Sicilian opening, d4, pawn takes, knight takes. Knight f6, knight c3. After a6, we are getting the knight variation, one of the biggest openings in the Sicilian. Here white is choosing queen d3, a bit rare move. We're not gonna dive very deep into the details. It's a very deep theoretical decision. So g6 is chosen for black, and after f3, bishop g7, bishop e3, short castle and a long castle, the game is going to Sicilian dragon variation structures. Black has the fianchetto and opposite side castles. White is going to try to attack on the king side, black is doing the same on the other side of the board. This is the main logic of the opening. Here black played b5, h4 and b4. Of course we're not going to sacrifice a knight and attack, it's a very important piece. White is going knight c2. And after a5, the first interesting decision, which I like a lot, since while attacking we're trying to be fast, and that's very important. White here goes h5. When castled opposite sides, the speed is one of the most important things. This kind of important concepts we're discussing in the course Attack Like a Viking, and it's very important before attacking to understand why are you doing this and is it supposed to work or it's not. So h5 is correct. Now if black is capturing with the pawn, the structure is getting destroyed, doubled pawns here, white will be able to take knight f4, knight h5, maybe knight g3, knight h5. It's weakening the position. After h5, black tried to do knight takes h5. Now if white is capturing, which is interesting, it's at least giving up the exchange in order to weaken the structure. However, white is playing in another way. It's very logical now to play g4, knight f6. What happened? White clearly dropped the pawn on the h file. And that's logical, opening up the line in front of opponent's king. We need to use this. At this moment, white's playing very slow move from the first view, however it's very powerful. White continues, queen to d2. The logic is to play bishop h6, exchange this defender, and queen will immediately go to the h6 square. Queen is the strongest attacker, and it necessarily should be into the game. After rook e8, black has the option of bishop h6, bishop to h8 move, and that's why white postpones this decision. Bringing the pieces into the attack is a very logical choice. At this moment, white continues knight to g3. It's hard to say how this knight is going to be used when there is a pawn on g6 limiting it. You will see this in the future. At the moment, black continued knight f to d7. Once again, if we think about bishop h6, bishop h8 is there. After queen h2, most probably, black was planning to go knight f8 and make this piece as not a bad defender of h7 square. Of course, it looks passive, on the other hand, it's solid. After knight f d7 move, white chooses a good continuation. They want to bring this bishop into the game. However, what do you think? Is bishop c4 a good square, which looks very natural, or it's not? You can pause the video and think about it. It's not good. Bishop c4 is not good because it's getting under concrete tempos. Knight e5, it's under attack. If white is going back bishop to b3, pawn a4 is here. It could be unpleasant. d5 square is also not permanently safe because of e6 moves very often. For this reason, instead of going bishop to c4, white chooses bishop b5. And what's the beauty of the move? It's now pinning the knight. Something like knight f8 in future will be not played. Additionally, this move is connecting the rooks, and if necessary, this rook will be able to go to the king side. At this moment, black decides to attack on the knight on e4 and plays pawn e5. This piece is hanging. It's very logical to think about knight e2, knight b3, even knight c6 is available. However, in order to be fast, white's ignoring the piece. The good move here is bishop h6. Exchanging the defender of opponent's king is another important concept described in the course, and it's making our attack way more powerful. Quickly showing that pawn takes d4 doesn't work. Now bishop g7, king takes and queen h6 check. After king g8 we are going to crash with queen h7. After king f8 this guy gets into the many attacking moves. We can even play something like rook d4, d6 will be hanging. A check of queen h8 will put this king in a tough positions, for example queen h8, king e7, queen d4. And overall they will never find a safety. In order not to get under this, black decides to play differently. After bishop h6, they are playing bishop f6, keeping the important defender. And right now seems like our knight is under attack. From the first view we want to go back, but is it the spirit of attacker? Not at all. Aditya was in a different mood. He wanted to gift us a great game, and that's why he played here knight df5. Now this piece can't be captured. After pawn takes, white is capturing, g takes f5. You may say white exchanged a piece for a pawn. What's the value? The value is open g file on the next moves, no matter what black is playing. White can go knight to h5, let's say rook g1, this bishop will be exchanged. With the power of this bishop, we're gonna crush through the dark squares, for example king h8, something like queen g2, and so on. Many threats black just won't be able to defend. It's also optional to get rid of the bishop, and bishop g7 check can be decisive. For this reason, knight df5 cannot be captured. Black continued bishop a6, hoping to exchange this bishop, which is very annoying on the diagonal. What do you think? Is white supposed to exchange? In real, white played bishop a4, and why is it so strong? Now bishop is stuck here without really doing much. Knight cannot be developed, this knight is still under a pin. Additionally, in some occasions, this bishop is blocking the a-pawn advancement, so it's a very good decision. At this moment, feeling a very big pressure, black decides to play pawn to d5. Not really saying a big value on this move, black is just trying to prevent something like knight takes d6. Well, white is accepting the pawn with the tempo, queen takes d5. Now the rook on 8 is hanging. And this was a logical decision for black to provoke queen d5 because they had interesting knight b6 move. As you know, one of the attacking concepts is the following. When opponent attacks, he would like to exchange strong pieces, especially the queen. And you may say, since there is a double attack, white has to exchange. Now queen d8, rook takes d8. Seems like the attack is over. Not so easy. Well, it's a fundamental conceptual rule, but exceptions are possible. Even though queens are exchanged, white's continuing the super strong attack. Here white plays pawn to g5, ignoring the fact that pawn on a4 is hanging, not exchanging through the file. We would like to kill this bishop because it's the defender of very weak dark squares. For example, now bishop h8 is impossible. I know you can see this, a mate in 1, knight e7, beautiful mating pattern. For the said reason they are getting mated. After pawn g5, black continued in the game knight takes f4, at least capturing the other piece. Now, pawn takes f6. Knight e7 is a mating threat, rook takes d8 is a mating threat, black has no time to capture the pieces. If they continue rook d1, rook takes d1 again, rook d8 and knight e7 are mating ideas. For this reason, at the moment black continued knight c6, trying to defend. However, pay attention that black king is not really having a lot of space. We covered the square on f8, the square on g7. Square on h8 is still available. Okay, not a problem. After rook d8 and rook takes, white plays a strong conceptual attacking move. Bishop g7. Opponent king is not having available squares anymore. We're missing only a single check. It can be a check with the knight, with the rook. Right now, if it's white to move, knight h6 is a checkmate. Black needs to defend. However, they cannot capture the knight on f5, because knight takes f5. Now knight h6 is unstoppable. If they are moving the h-pawn, so now knight h6 is not mating, because of king h7. We go differently, rook takes h5, and now rook h8 is unstoppable. So black king is in a big trouble. At the moment, after bishop g7, black played h5 immediately, at least hoping that now rook h5 is impossible. How to win here? What will be your decision? To deliver a beautiful checkmate. While you are posing and thinking, let me tell you that a lot of cool, amazing mating ideas we are showing in the course Mating Matador, which will very much develop your understanding how many different ways are available to attack on opponent's king. Okay, back to the position. Now white sacrifices the other knight, knight h5. Amazing spot. Two of white knights are hanging in the endgame, but none of them can be captured. As you know, if pawn takes h5, now rook takes and rook h8 is unstoppable. Otherwise, at the moment, if black is capturing the other knight, we just move the knight back. Knight to g3, and again, rook h8 is coming. Such a powerful threat. So, in order to do something here, black played bishop to e2. They are hoping, in some occasions, if this rook is leaving the first rank, to deliver rook d1 checkmate. Although it's tough to imagine because rook h8 will be a checkmate itself. Well, now white's goal is clear, to open the file. So something like knight h6, king h7 isn't working so good. White continued knight f4. If black is playing any other move but rook d1 check, rook h8 is a checkmate. So black is forced to go for this. Now rook takes, bishop takes. If now suddenly white captures the bishop, after pawn takes f5, black will be able to breathe comfortably. They are not getting mated anymore. However, white player calculated everything in advance. This is the last shot we need to deliver to our opponents. Pause the video and think about it. I am sure you saw this. Now white continues knight e7 check. Suddenly, this knight cannot be captured, because after pawn takes, e8 is a promotion. Black has no way to prevent this. So, after knight e7 check, black went for king h7. Well, now white can take on c6, give on f4, take on d1, basically staying with an extra piece. But we are not loving it, because there is knight h3, another last amazing decision. White has a threat, amazing threat, which forces black to give up. That's to play knight g5 checkmate. A crushing idea with 3 minor pieces and a pawn. It's very rare when you can see these kind of things in a real game. So the game is finished. White is winning. Once again, to quickly summarize, let me mention that from the very beginning, white kept all the healthy principles of a correct attack. Brought the pieces, opened the position, was playing very aggressively and trying to be as fast as possible. I hope you liked this, and maybe you will use some ideas in your future crushing attacks. Thank you for watching. Jem Gabuzyan was here with you, and I'm going to see you in our next videos.